With the large budget deficit on their hands, Morehead State University leaders have recommended some cuts, which include layoffs. How the campus is reacting.
Frightening moments near the Pegasus Parade route in Louisville tonight. Police say 2 teenagers were shot. What we learned about the investigation.
State police say a man driving a semi-truck with small children inside was high on methamphetamine. Tonight, you'll hear from that man.
This is WKYT News at 11.
Good evening to you. We have not had the best weather this week. It didn't even feel like the first week of May today.
It did not, but with the Kentucky Oaks tomorrow and the Kentucky Derby on Saturday, will sunshine and warmer temperatures return just in time? We begin with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey and your no-wait weather forecast.
Guys, the short answer to that is yes, as we go into Friday and Saturday, timing it perfectly for some better weather to move on into town. You mentioned how ugly it has been over the past few days. Late evening thermometers into the mid and upper 40s across most of central and eastern Kentucky, courtesy of this big storm system that has been slowly working its way across the Ohio Valley and now into the mid-Atlantic states. We're still on the backside of this, getting in on some chillier air coming in from the north and the northeast. Notice this area of high pressure, though, out across parts of Iowa. That is the good guy in all this. And as it works its way to the east, it's going to give us better weather as we go into Friday and Saturday. Now, your Defender radar network still picking up on an isolated shower or two in northern Kentucky over the past hour. That is beginning to weaken. Southeastern Kentucky, though, notice the rains that are ongoing. Big Sandy Valley and across the Kentucky-Virginia border counties. Sandwiched in between some partly cloudy skies. Still, the fast forward button on the radar, we put it in motion and it tries to blow up one little band of sprinklers or light showers into parts of central Kentucky into the wee hours of the morning. But notice how things begin to really clear up in time for the trip into work and school tomorrow morning, with temperatures that will generally be into the low 40s tomorrow afternoon, 65 to 70 coming your way. Weekend storms, though, threaten to crash the party. A brand new hour-by-hour forecast, guys, that'll take you through Derby Day and into Mother's Day at 11:13.
Facing a nearly $10 million budget deficit, Morehead State University leaders say they're having to make some tough decisions.
New tonight, the university announced some recommendations to fix that deficit, which would include dozens of layoffs. Garrett Weimer has reaction in our top story at 11.
Administrators say this is a last resort, but the proposed layoffs are one way to help make up for a nearly $10 million budget deficit. Administrators say the university has been hurting financially thanks to declining enrollment and population and nearly a decade of cuts to money it gets from the state. As a result, they're left with a $9.7 million budget deficit for 2016-2017. In an email to faculty and staff, President Wayne Andrews outlined his plan to make up that deficit. The plan includes ways to increase revenue, like a new fee and increases for tuition and housing. It also includes spending cuts and a proposal to eliminate 64 positions. 34 of those are already vacant. 30 people would be laid off. All told, administrators say those steps would make up for $8.5 million of the deficit. That still leaves $1.2 million. Students say they're aware of the financial trouble swirling around them. One told me his teachers talked to them about it. He worries about what all the uncertainty could mean, especially for incoming students in the future.
I didn't expect anything like this to happen, but as you know, college is kind of a business too, but I would just hope like the business part would be a little less, like not as big as it has been.
Administrators say they'll present their final budget recommendations to the Board of Regents on June 10th. At Morehead State University, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Earlier this week, the school announced it is suspending its men's and women's tennis programs. In a statement, MSU President Wayne Andrews says the university has a long, proud history of success, and he's committed to seeing that remains true in the future.
New tonight, 2 teenagers had to be rushed to the hospital after being shot near the route of the Pegasus Parade in Louisville. Police say a 17-year-old boy and a 14-year-old girl both have non-life-threatening injuries. They were near the intersection of 4th and Broadway when they were shot. Louisville police say they took 2 15-year-old boys into custody after the shooting, and they're now being questioned. They say the 3 boys know each other, but the girl was an innocent bystander. The shooting happened more than an hour into the parade. The parade continued even as police investigated the shooting. He's accused of driving his tractor-trailer rig while high on meth and with 2 young children in the truck cab. New tonight, a man gave us his side of the story from jail. This morning, state police arrested 37-year-old William Eichhorn and the children's mother, 27-year-old Samantha Wittenberg, along Interstate 75 in Laurel County. Police say the arrest came during a safety inspection at a way station. Monique Blair has the story new at 11.
And then they said that you were on methamphetamines?
Not for the last 2 days. That's when I done it last, and I quit that.
But state police say it was after a thorough investigation and after speaking with Will Eichhorn that they were able to determine that he was driving the semi-truck high on methamphetamine. Add to that, police say a 7-year-old and a 16-month-old were inside the truck and not properly secured. The children's mother, 27-year-old Samantha Wittenberg, was also arrested and charged with endangering the welfare of a minor and also public intoxication. Eichhorn told me it was caffeine pills that he took before police pulled him over.
I took the awake pills I bought at the Pilot truck stop. Okay. I took 8 of them that morning, and this morning.
Eichhorn is now behind bars here at the Laurel County Detention Center, and he faces several charges, among them carrying a concealed deadly weapon.
It's old. You know, it's not going to be used to shoot or anything. It's old. It's up where I live. It's not a good neighborhood up in Louisville.
Eichhorn told me the children, who he says are his stepchildren, were with him while he was working because they can't sleep without him. Those children are now in the care of Child Protective Services. Do you wish you would have done things differently?
I do, yes.
In Laurel County, Monique Blair, WKYT.
We reached out to the trucking company that Eichhorn worked for, Madero Trucking Express. The owner told us that Eichhorn worked for the company for 2 months and until today was a good employee.
New tonight, a Lexington neighborhood is helping the family of a young construction worker who died in a trench collapse. Investigators say 22-year-old Tyler Williams of Menifee County was working on a construction project along Todd's Road yesterday when he died. A woman who lives nearby says she wanted to do something to help Williams' family, so she set up a fund. Williams leaves behind a wife and 3 young children.
I'm married, I have 2 boys, and I couldn't imagine what our family would do if one of us wasn't able to come home one day. So I just, you know, being a wife and being a mother, I wanted to do something to help.
He worked hard every day. He was so wise beyond his years.
If you would like to donate to that memorial fund, you can do so at any Fifth Third bank. We have more information for you on our website, WKYT.com.
New tonight, police arrested a man they say locked his children in their bedroom. London police charged 26-year-old Kenneth Martin with second-degree criminal abuse. They say they went to Martin's home last night after receiving a tip. Once inside, police say they noticed a deadbolt lock on the children's bedroom door. They say they told Martin to remove the lock. When police went back later to check on the children, they say the deadbolt had been removed, but the door was tied shut with the children inside the bedroom. A judge has decided that 4 people charged in connection to the murder of a Clark County woman will stand trial separately. Police say 19-year-old Amber Cottle died in December of 2014 when a stray bullet came through the floor of her Winchester apartment and hit her. Police later arrested Aaron Staley, Christopher Robinson, Lamont Wilkerson, and Lillian Barnett. Robinson will go on trial first. It's set for January 23rd.
Donald Trump is looking forward to this summer's Republican convention now that he's the party's presumptive nominee. But some of the biggest names in the GOP aren't on board. Greg Boswell has the latest from the campaign trail.
Everybody's out. I'm the only one left.
At his first rally as the presumptive GOP nominee, Donald Trump said he's the man to unify the Republican Party.
A lot of these never Trumps are calling up. Mr. Trump, I admire you greatly, sir. We'd love to join the campaign.
But not everyone is on board. Speaker of the House Paul Ryan told CNN he's not ready to endorse Trump.
I'm not there right now, and I hope to, though, and I want to. But I think what is required is that we unify this party.
Trump released a statement saying he is not ready to support Speaker Ryan's agenda, but hopes to work together in the future. Other high-profile Republicans, including the last 2 Republican presidents, George H.W. Bush and son George W. Bush, said they won't endorse Trump or attend the party's convention. The 2 previous GOP nominees, Mitt Romney and John McCain, will also skip the convention.
Hillary Clinton is also calling for her party to unite behind her. Clinton says she bowed out of the race in 2008 when it was clear Barack Obama was going to be the nominee.
I campaigned with him. I nominated him at the convention.
But Clinton's rival, Bernie Sanders, insists he has a path to the nomination and will stay in the race until the final votes are cast. Craig Boswell, CBS News, the White House.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky said he'll support the GOP nominee, but he said Donald Trump has the opportunity and the obligation to unite the Republican Party. According to the Herald Leader, another Republican, Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin, said he's not ready to endorse anyone. Also tonight, Hillary Clinton's campaign announced she will be returning to Kentucky next week. She's planning a public event in Louisville on Tuesday. Kentucky's primary is May 17th.
After a string of arsons at homes around central Kentucky, police in one county take extra steps now to protect the homes. In 9 minutes, how neighbors are helping too.
And then why one of the two Gordman stores in Lexington will be going out of business in the coming weeks.
It's time to wake up. You've got things to do, mouths to feed, work to get done. It's another Kentucky morning. And Kentucky mornings start here.
Good morning, I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith.
You don't have time to waste, so we don't waste your time. Simple as that. Breaking and overnight news, weather to plan your day, plus traffic you can take with you. Make WKYT This Morning part of your Kentucky morning. Weekdays from 4:30 to 7 on WKYT.
Clients come into the office. The government has said, no, I don't believe you. You're not disabled.
The major problem with Social Security disability is that most people who sign up are denied at the initial level. If your claim's denied, don't give up. Call us immediately. We'll appeal your case.
We can do an effective job of representing you that will get you the benefits that you deserve.
Call Morgan, Collins, and Yeast, 1-800-55-WILDCAT.
Kentucky Lottery jackpot sequence has been initiated. Prepare for current jackpot amount.
Saturday's Powerball jackpot is $415 million.
Hurry to Fazoli's for a fan favorite baked spaghetti. For a limited time, this Fazoli's favorite is only $4.99. Spaghetti with marinara sauce topped with our special blend of cheeses and baked to perfection. And top it with Italian sausage or meatballs for just $1.50 more.
Fazoli's. Don?
Ned?
Trump?
Cruz?
Congress.
Mike Pape. You?
Yeah, Mike Pape. Unlike James Comer, who refuses to repeal Obamacare, Mike Pape will repeal Obamacare.
And unlike Comer, who's for Obama's amnesty, Mike Pape is against amnesty and will build the wall.
Mike Pape is a trusted conservative.
He'll make America great again.
I'm Mike Pape, and I approve this message.
Have something that needs investigating? Email us or call the WKYT Investigates tip line. Get WKYT news and weather updates on 98.1 The Bull. Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Cold high pressure across the Plain States. We're at least on the chilly side of that right now, but boy, oh boy, some warmer air is on the way over the next few days. Let's get into it. Let's set you up with the central and eastern parts of the country because I want to focus on where we are going over the next few days. Well, we know where we are. It's chilly. It's kind of ugly right now. Where we're going, though, for the day tomorrow depends on this high pressure. It's going to work its way toward the east, so the milder air is going to be in here for Friday. Behind that, we're getting in on a surge of warmer air. Guess what? That's in here as we go into our Saturday as this high pressure works its way toward the east and southeast. Now, unfortunately, it isn't the strongest high pressure in the world, so eventually it's just going to get pushed around by another cold front that is rolling on into town later this weekend. Right now, across the Bluegrass State, we're in the 40s into central and eastern Kentucky. Notice a little warmer to the north. Got a pocket of some clouds here from Frankfort over to Louisville and Covington, keeping temperatures up a little bit. Where skies have cleaned up, we're into the mid to the upper 40s. 46 cool spot showing up into Montgomery County, Mount Sterling. Defender Radar Network, couple of showers eastern Kentucky. Today really wasn't a wet day by any stretch of the imagination. It was just ugly. Temperatures tomorrow, though, looking a lot better. Your sky is going to look a lot better, too. So 40s in the morning, and I'll tell you, if you wake up to some clouds, just be patient, hang tough into the afternoon. You're going to see the sun slowly take control. And the farther west you live, the better the chance of staying mostly sunny all day long. Heading out tomorrow evening to a Derby Eve party, maybe. 50s by 11 o'clock. Hour by hour forecast as we take you into the weekend. Low 40s in the morning. Low 60s coming up around noon tomorrow. Notice the clouds, though, into eastern Kentucky in the southeastern corner of the state. Under those clouds, we may try to squeeze out one little shower, southeastern Kentucky, 71 Churchill Downs, rest of the region mainly upper 60s. 11 o'clock tomorrow, clear skies. Little batch of cloud cover on Saturday. You're just looking at that thinking it's some passing clouds. Well, it is, but it's part of a bigger setup for the day on Saturday. It's a warm front. Notice how we're in the 40s where those clouds are entering eastern Kentucky. 50s coming in behind it. 55 Churchill Downs, 7 o'clock on Saturday morning. Noontime on Saturday. We are into the 70s already. And by the time we hit 5 o'clock, many areas may flirt with 80 degrees. I think we're at the low 80s out at Churchill Downs. The problem as we go deeper into the evening that we'll be facing is that we're going to walk a fine line with some showers and thunderstorms that will develop quickly from north to south across the region. That could deliver, hopefully, after Derby, a shower or thunderstorm at Churchill Downs. And we go into Mother's Day. Front is right on top of the area. I think this model's a little underdone, a little too far south with the threat for some showers and storms. We could see a few rounds making their way across the area. Then as we go toward next week, that front is going to kind of check up across the Ohio Valley. Not going to be one of those weeks where it rains all the time. May get a storm one day, miss a day, another round comes through, and that's a pattern that will likely take us through the bulk of next week. 7-day forecast, improving temperatures. First and foremost tomorrow, 69 degrees, mainly dry. Late day shower thunderstorm on Saturday with a temperature that will be into the upper 70s to around 80 in the long range call toward next week. Daily threat for a shower thunderstorm. Hey, something else next week, guys. Twister, the movie, it turns 20 years old. WKYT Weather Watchers will be presenting the movie Twister next Tuesday, May 10th, 7:30 at Kentucky Theater, downtown Lexington. Get your tickets on WKYT.com. You know why? Because they're free. Can't say so much about the popcorn, but the tickets are free. And come on down there, join us. We'll have folks from the National Weather Service. We will turn you into a weather watcher, and we will turn Twister loose for you to watch.
That is so cool. It's always awesome to see those kind of movies come back to the big screen.
It is. And think about it. A whole generation has never watched this movie at the theater.
And you're introducing them to it.
We're going to show you the movie down there.
Okay. Buttered popcorn.
I got your order.
All right, thanks. Kentucky Fried Chicken has a new product it claims is finger-licking good, but it's something that will probably surprise you. We'll explain in 8 minutes.
Does your loved one show signs of nursing home abuse or neglect? Bed sores, broken bones, dehydration, infection, and malnutrition are common signs of abuse. If your loved one has been injured or abused in a nursing home, call Garcia, Artiglaire, and Medby. We'd like to help.
Lexington Overstock Warehouse is open this weekend only for our big weekend warehouse sale. Get quality furniture and mattresses at incredibly low prices. Queen bed $177. Rustonic queen mattress and box $288. Go to LexingtonOverstockWarehouse.com for more details.
Life is easy here. And now you can make it even easier with a home equity line of credit from Republic Bank. Even if your mortgage isn't with us, you can get a below-prime 2.99% 12-month introductory fixed interest rate with an ongoing variable rate thereafter and no closing costs. Pay off higher loan rates, manage unexpected expenses, or make a home improvement or two. Stop by your nearest Republic Banking Center and talk to an associate today. We're Republic Bank, and it's just easier here.
Tom Hammond here for Transitions Lift and Elevator, Central Kentucky's leading provider of stair lifts, wheelchair lifts, residential and commercial elevators. Our technicians inspect, maintain, and service every product we sell, and even those we didn't install. Our service team is professional, courteous, and safety-minded, making sure your investment is safe and delivering many years of use. For service, call us today or visit transitionsmobility.com. Transitions Lift and Elevator, getting you where you need to be.
If you've been injured in an automobile accident and have legal questions, visit forthepeople.com to get answers to your questions. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Pet moments are beautiful, unless you have allergies. Then your eyes may see it differently. Flonase is the first and only nasal spray approved to relieve both itchy, watery eyes and congestion. No other nasal allergy spray can say that. When we breathe in allergens, our bodies react by overproducing 6 key inflammatory substances that cause our symptoms. Most allergy pills only control one substance. Flonase controls 6, and 6 is greater than 1. More complete allergy relief. Flonase, 6 is greater than 1, changes everything.
Get WKYT news and weather updates on News Radio 630 WLAP.
You place your loved one in a nursing home to receive quality care. Unfortunately, nursing home neglect and abuse causes injury and death to innocent victims. If you suspect nursing home abuse, call Garcia, Artigler, and Medby at 1-844-738-6786. We'd like to help.
Deputies in Jessamine County are increasing patrols after a string of arsons around central Kentucky. 2
of the fires were set at homes in Jessamine County. The Jessamine County Sheriff's Office says it's now stepping up patrols in rural areas. And some people we talked to say they're helping neighbors by keeping an eye on their neighbors' homes.
To be afraid when you go to get in your vehicle to go to town for maybe a half an hour and to come back and not know if your property's still going to be there. That's scary.
The fires were set at homes in Jessamine, Fayette, Scott, and Garrett counties. So far, police have not made any arrests. The State Police Arson Task Force is offering a $1,000 reward in this case.
Tonight, more than 1,100 firefighters are still trying to bring a massive wildfire in Canada under control. The fire has been threatening the city of Fort McMurray, Alberta, where more than 80,000 people have been evacuated. Entire neighborhoods in the city have been lost, but firefighters think the flames are starting to move away from Fort McMurray. Firefighters say gusty winds are making it very tough to fight the fire. They say the fire is now more than 210,000 acres in size. New tonight, police are investigating a deadly shooting outside a Maryland high school. It happened late this afternoon in Beltsville near Washington, D.C. Police say a woman was picking up her children in the school's parking lot when a man confronted her and then shot her. She later died. Police say a man who stepped in to help was also shot but should survive. And they're now looking for the suspect. Police say the shooting was a domestic situation in nature.
New tonight, a former aide to Senators Rand Paul and Mitch McConnell has been convicted of federal campaign finance violations. The charges stem from when Jesse Benton was Ron Paul's campaign chairman in 2012. Along with Benton, the jury also convicted a campaign manager and a deputy manager. Investigators say the 3 men worked together to cover up campaign payments to a former Iowa state senator. New tonight, a struggling Eastern Kentucky coal company has auctioned some of its equipment. Blackhawk Mining put 300 pieces of equipment up for auction today in Perry County. Company leaders say tougher regulations forced them to lay off workers, so they've been auctioning off equipment that they no longer need in the mines. There's no word yet on how much money today's auction brought in.
New tonight, one of Lexington's 2 Gordman stores will soon be closing. A store closing sale is now underway at the Gordmans on Sir Barton Way in Hamburg. Leaders of the department store say that after looking over some options, they decided not to renew the lease at that location. The Gordmans store near Fayette Mall will stay open.
Kentucky Fried Chicken has unveiled a new product that brings new meaning to the slogan, "Finger Lickin' Good." KFC is now selling edible nail polish in Hong Kong. It comes in original recipe or hot and spicy varieties. KFC says the edible nail polish is one of the ways it's trying to increase the relevance of its brand in Hong Kong. Company leaders say the nail polish could eventually be sold here in the United States. Not sure how I feel about it, but there you go.
All right.
I'm not sure about
I
it.
kind of agree with you there. Up next, we will hear from the man who trains the Derby favorite, Rob.
Well, that would be Doug O'Neill. He has been confident. How did he sound this morning at Churchill Downs? And Carl Towns is back. So is Devin Booker, and attracting a crowd tonight at Fayette Mall. Stay with us. Sports is back.
Get WKYT news and weather updates on Wild 103.9.
We're cleaning out and clearing out. But PRAT Spring Clearance Event ends Tuesday. Save up to half off. 0 interest till 2018 with no money down. Savings as good as up to 3 times the state sales tax break. Ends Tuesday.
Nobody beats PRATs.
Welcome to Carpet One. Visit our area rug showroom featuring 400 room-size area rugs. While you're here, check out our in-stock rolls and remnants and save over 50% off carpet and vinyl. Carpet One has it all, and we have it in stock. Come see us.
Don't miss Derby Eve Lexington, sponsored by Breeders' Cup, Park Equine Hospital, and John Jacobs BMW. May 6th at the Old Pepper Distillery on Manchester. Dance until 2 and enjoy live music, gourmet food, Tito's Vodka, GH Mum Champagne, Four Roses Bourbon, Cigar Bar, and more. Get your tickets at derbyevelex.horse.
PRAT Spring Clearance Event is back. Don't pay $6.99 for this Whirlpool Cabrio top-load washer. Now $4.99. A Manna French door refrigerator, $12.99. Plus savings as good as up to 3 times the state sales tax break.
Nobody beats PRATs.
Friday's Mega Millions jackpot is $138 million, and Saturday's Powerball jackpot is $400 million.
Step right up for something fun. For just $1, the excitement's begun. The game's called Keno, and you can play it in an alley. Or you can play it with your best friend, Sally. You can play it here or there. You can play it almost anywhere. Play with many numbers or just a few. How you play is all up to you. You can put down a little or put down a lot. So what do you say? Give Keno a shot. Just pick your numbers and hope you win, and a few minutes later, you can play it again. Now you can play Keno wherever Kentucky Lottery games are sold, fueling imagination, funding education.
As we left that first day, I'll never forget, it was a beautiful sunny afternoon. He said, you know, I haven't had a warm fuzzy dealing with all my medical problems in the last few years, but you know, that visit, I call that a warm fuzzy. At this point in my life, I seek out the best quality care with the kindest, most informed people that can deliver that care to me. So I recommend it highly that you come to Lexington Diagnostic Center.
Welcome to Toyota Time. Tons of awesome vehicles. Great deals for everyone. Thanks. Low APR financing. Woo! Here's your balloon.
Coffee.
Shoulder. Shoes. Water. I have the best team. Oh, here I come.
Now, during Toyota Time, get 0% financing on many of your favorite new Toyotas. Or get a great low lease deal. For all Toyota offers, go to buyatoyota.com.
Here you go. And here I go.
Toyota, let's go places.
Only $29.95. What? You're not buying this. Come on. No.
Awesome.
No, too expensive.
Cut it out. This is embarrassing.
Ah. Come on, open up. You never let me have any fun.
Hey, what about a vacation? At Allegiant.com, we can get a great deal on flights and more, and that's fun.
How come most of the time I can't get you to open up, but going on vacation is okay?
One word, Allegiant.
Listen to your wallet and visit Allegiant.com now.
Nyquist is the 3-1 morning line favorite to win the Derby, and he should be the post-time favorite Saturday. This morning at Churchill Downs, trainer Doug O'Neill, flanked by owner Paul Redham and jockey Mario Gutierrez, sat down to talk about Nyquist. The Florida Derby winner was on the track at 8:30 this morning. Under regular exercise rider Johnny Garcia, he galloped a strong 1 3/8 miles.
Once he left the pony and started doing the real exercise, he was full of energy, and Johnny joked after getting back to the barn that he couldn't feel his hands, couldn't feel his arms from the amount of energy that Nyquist was displaying. And so just there's a lot of smiles. That we're still very optimistic, but we're still 2 days away. So just trying to, Paul has taught us to just try to stay even keel and not get too high or too low, and just be optimistic.
Karl Anthony Towns back in Kentucky over the last few days. He is coming off a tremendous rookie year in the NBA. 18 points and 10.5 boards. He could be a unanimous pick for Rookie of the Year. Karl was the #1 draft pick. He made $5.7 million last season, but it was a ways into the year that finally hit him. That magic moment, he's in the NBA.
I think it was at home against the Grizzlies. I walked into my locker room, I saw my jersey, and I mean, this is maybe the 40-something game of the year. I mean, it's been deep in the season already, and I just walk in and I do my same thing, and I look at my jersey that's hanging out and just, for some reason, got stopped, you know, just realizing, wow, like, I'm really at the NBA, you know, my eyes were focused into the NBA patch next to the jersey, and just seeing my number and my name, and you know, it's just those things that really hit me hard.
Out at Wildcat Warehouse at Fayette Mall, huge crowd showing up tonight for a Devin Booker autograph signing. Booker also coming off a fantastic rookie season. He averaged more points, assists, and rebounds in his first season in Phoenix than he did in his one season at Kentucky.
It was just a situation I was in. Obviously, we had to sacrifice a lot. I mean, you're seeing Karl, even though Karl did a lot last year, he did even more this year in the NBA. It just shows you the sacrifices that we had to make. You know, with so much talent on one team, you know, we were only out there 18, 20 minutes a game. So I didn't get to show the whole package that I wish I did, but you know, I'm glad people are getting to see it now.
Fifth-ranked South Carolina coming into Cliff Hagan Stadium to begin a three-game series starting tomorrow. Kentucky started out hot in SEC play, winning its first 4 series, but since have lost the last 3. Javon Shelby says this team is now playing with a chip on its shoulder.
We're angry right now, you know. We're hungry. We know that we don't play like this, but I mean every team goes through it, and I mean we're ready for South Carolina this week, and that's the only thing on our mind right now, South Carolina. So we're ready to play our game, and then just set everything else aside, not worry about anything but playing our game.
In Cincinnati tonight, big first inning for the Reds, already up 1-0. Jay Bruce connects deep to right, 3-run homer, and the Reds led it 4-0. They scored 5 in the first. Second inning, Brandon Phillips at the plate. He drives one deep to center, this one back into the Reds bullpen. And in the 8th inning, Adam Duvall slams yet another home run, his 5th of the season and his 3rd of the homestand. Reds make it 2 in a row. They win tonight by a final count of 9-5. Baseball is home tomorrow night. So is UK softball taking on Mississippi State. We'll be right back.
Crispy, crunchy, cheesy. Papa John's new pan pizza, loaded with cheese that bakes into a delicious crust. Get our new pan pizza with up to 3 toppings for just $10 at papajohns.com.
If I could build a friend, I'd fill her with qualities on which I can depend, like patience, understanding. She's there when I need her. My best friend yet.
Show Mom you care with a gift from Kroger.
Treat Mom to a dozen private selection roses for just $10. And first of the season sweet red cherries are $3.99 a pound. Happy Mother's Day from Kroger.
The new Royal Blizzard is a blizzard breakthrough. But what's the science behind the fudge suspended inside?
Let's begin.
Cross-teleportation.
Uh-oh.
Centrifugal force?
It's not working.
Liquid nitrogen? Lasers?
Guys, I actually fill the blizzard with fudge.
Science! Experience the all-new Royal Blizzard lineup, like the Royal Oreo filled with a vortex of creamy fudge for a blizzard breakthrough. This is fan food, not fast food.
This weekend at American Freight, 2 mattress sets, any size, only $298 complete. Get a twin and a full and a queen. Get a queen and a king, 2 kings, 2 queens, 2 mattress sets, any size, only $298 complete. Famous names like Simmons, Stewart, and Hamilton. Free layaway, same-day delivery. This weekend only at American Freight in Lexington, 272 West New Circle Road, next to Walmart, across from Jalapenos. Phone 226-0008.
Do you remember free? When something came with no strings attached? Today we've all but forgotten about free, from people shouting it out, only for us to read the fine print. At UK Federal Credit Union, we're bringing back free in all its glory. Free checking with free checks. A free debit card printed while you wait. Mobile deposit, free. Online bill pay, free. And look, no fine print. Free checking from the University of Kentucky Federal Credit Union. It's banking, only better.
When creating your dream home improvement, Stones and Granite brings the elegance and style of natural stone or quartz to your home. Both not only add beauty, but are durable, heat resistant, and easy to maintain. Please take us for granite at Stones and Granite of Lexington.
When newsmakers want to make more news, they come to Colbert.
I want to thank you for running for president.
The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
What's happening?
Weeknights.
Crispy, crunchy, cheesy. Papa John's new pan pizza, loaded with cheese that bakes into a delicious crust. Get our new pan pizza with up to 3 toppings for just $10 at papajohns.com.
Have something that needs investigating? Email us or call the WKYT Investigates tip line.
The Late Show with Stephen Colbert is less than a minute away right here on WKYT. And tonight's guests include Judge Judy and Zach Posen.
Well, we will have coverage tomorrow from the Kentucky Oaks, and it sounds like we're going to get some good weather, which is always a good thing.
It's long overdue this week as well. The emojis, notice the progression of the smile on your emojis. 7 in the morning, noontime, all of a sudden, now we can see a big smile. We throw the sunglasses into the mix by 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Derby Day, 79, may hit 80, chance for a late day thunderstorm. Mom's Day on Sunday, a little better chance for some scattered showers and storms. Not a washout of a weekend by any means.
But tomorrow is Kentucky's Day.
It is.
At the track.
And we will be there
looking forward
all
to it.
afternoon with you. So tune in and join us tomorrow. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Have a good one.
Have a good night. See you tomorrow.